What would you do if you realized that your mission and business are no longer in integrity with who you are? Would you have the courage to pivot a successful business to follow what feels aligned? Join me and my powerhouse client, Chaneé Momoko, for a conversation that dives deep beneath the surface of a massive business pivot to uncover the importance of leading with integrity. In this episode, you'll learn why it's important for you to answer the call to shift your mission, message, and business, why you don't have to burn down your entire business to create a pivot, how to move through the uncertainty of change, why hustle and struggle go hand in hand, and why it's a disservice to your clients to stay exactly the same. Chaneé is a pre and post competition prep expert, WBFF Bikini Pro, and life coach. After spending many years competing professionally herself, Chaneé noticed a big gap in the fitness industry. Who was helping all these women post competition? Taking her years of experience with fitness and life coaching, she educates and empowers women with the knowledge, skills, and tools to create a balanced lifestyle after competitions with food freedom and positive body image. Now, before we start the episode, I have something to share. For those of you who are ready to take your leadership to the next level, I am looking for conscious thought leaders who don't believe in sacrificing integrity for popularity, leaders who value congruency over image, connection over division, and collaboration over competition. If that's you, I invite you to apply to become one of the 10 leaders in the Thought Leader Collective. TLC kicks off January 2020, and like I said, there are only 10 seats available, and this includes 2 in-person retreats. So head on over to www.rubyfremon.com/TLC for more info. If you dig this podcast, stay in the loop by signing up for my weekly emails. Sign up today at www.rubyfremon.com/subscribe. And finally, whether you're new to this podcast or a loyal thought leader, please make sure to take a moment to download a few episodes and drop a rating and review on iTunes. Now it is time to learn how to lead with integrity with Chaneé Momoko. Hey, thought leaders, I am back and I have a very, very, very special guest with me today. Someone who has been on a journey with me for almost a full year. Someone who I have had the pleasure of witnessing in the midst of a major expansion and evolution, both in her business and personally. So I am super excited to dive into this conversation with the one and only Chaneé Momoko. Chaneé, welcome to today's Thought Leader. I am so excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
So this year, well, let's give a little bit of a background here. So you started working with me in January of this year. And the only reason I hesitate to say that is because holy shit, you've made so many changes.
It's crazy.
It's literally like at the time that we're recording this, it's like mid-September and so much has changed.
Yeah.
So,
I'm without words.
Right. She's speechless. But the changes are really what I want to focus our call on, our recording on today, because what you have overcome and what you are still navigating through now is what I believe a lot of our listeners navigate through. Whether it's wanting to change the niche or their specialty or their expertise in a business that's already working, or whether it's changing the way that they are approaching their business and making the shift from hustling and doing to actually just being. You are in the midst of all of these shifts.
Yeah, both of those.
And how's that been for you? Be honest.
It's scary. It's scary as fuck. I mean, I think I cry like every week on our calls, but that's the beauty of having coaches who can hold space for you and like hold your vision for you. Because yeah, I've been on both of those where I decided to change my niche because it was just no longer in integrity with like who I was becoming and who I was being. And then, like you said, dropping the hustle, dropping the grind, because for years and for a lot of this year, what became really clear to me was that like I was using my business for validation for myself and working so hard trying to make things work because I thought that the external stuff was going to give me all the reward. So yeah, it's been a journey and it's been definitely uncomfortable, like shifting and letting go of control and like doing things a new way or like being a new way basically. But I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. And it's been a beautiful journey, as tough as it's been and as many tears have been shed.
Yeah.
Why don't we give our listeners like a little bit of background of where your business was prior to making these shifts? Because I want to really outline that it's not that your business wasn't successful. It's that it didn't feel like it was in integrity. Yeah. So can
Yeah.
you share a bit about that?
So I started online coaching because I used to compete professionally in bodybuilding. And what really actually made my business blow up was when I started to become vulnerable about my post-competition experiences. I competed super actively in a span of 2.5 years. I did about 5 shows. And I was active on social media. So when I shared the post-competition side, struggling with my body image, struggling with disordered eating habits, and kind of sharing how I overcame that, that's when I started to sign on a lot of clients. I started to take on competition prep clients. And just exactly how you said, like my business was doing amazing. When I reached out to you in January for coaching, it was very successful. And I also trained people in person a bit. But as I started, as my clients started winning pro cards, as they started getting first place, as they started achieving the things that I wanted them to achieve and what we have been working towards, I found that I wasn't fulfilled. And it was hard for me to take pride in my clients. I was happy for them, but it was very hard for me. There was like a moment where I just was like, man, like this isn't feel good. Like I'm really happy for them, but I'm not happy for me. And that's what started another shedding of, my layer and kind of looking deep into that and being like, why am I not happy for myself? Like, what is it about the competitions that truly isn't making me happy? And that's when I realized I wasn't truly living in integrity. Because as healthy as I try to do the competition preps, as involved as I am with emotional support and life coaching and being there for these women as they embark on this journey that is can be very hard, I'm still a part of the problem. And that problem is being hyper-focused on your body image and using food to control how you look so that you can then be accepted. And
that's like waking up one day and looking in the mirror and realizing like, holy fuck, I'm perpetuating an issue that I am so against. That's a massive wake-up call. And first of all, I just want to honor you for having the awareness to make that insight for yourself and acknowledge it, because I think a lot of people are acting in ways that aren't in integrity and not acknowledging it because it's easy, or it's getting them the results, or it's making them the money, or it's getting them the clients, whatever it is. But here you are with a successful business. And what she failed to mention, listeners, is she had a steady flow of people wanting to work with her. Like, there was never there was never like a break in people wanting to work with you.
I had a wait list. I had people reaching out to be prepped for shows like a year in advance. So yeah.
And then coming to that realization of, you can be happy for them. You're happy for them. They're achieving their goals. You're supporting them in achieving those goals. And yet you're not happy for yourself because
Exactly.
something in this feels out of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What a like love punch to the face.
Right.
And you know, it's I think that or just in my journey, as we continue to evolve as human beings, we gain these new insights of ourselves. We gain new insights on what our purpose is. We gain more clarity on what we stand for and what we don't stand for. So I don't think it was like when you started this, you were starting it from a place of where you lacked integrity. It seems like you started it from a place of integrity. It felt good. You were passionate about this. And as you continued to evolve just as a human being, you began to see past um, the filters in that industry, and you began
Mm-hmm.
to really see the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yeah,
what happened?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I got into competition prep coaching because I had coaches who starved me, almost ruined my metabolism, didn't care about my mental health, didn't care about my hormones. And it devastated me. I never had an eating disorder before I competed. And it was a
Wow.
result of poor coaching.
Right.
And so that's why I got into it. So I didn't, I went into it for that, to help
Right.
these women and help them achieve a goal, but like without ruining their whole health.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a love punch. And then I realized, oh, but like I'm still perpetuating this process and I'm still perpetuating this problem.
Mm, mm. And I remember that uh, it was a few calls where we were talking about this realization. And it's really scary to change or pivot directions or shift things when everything's essentially working.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was really scary. I, for a moment, felt as if I had to burn half my business down in order to
Mm.
pivot. And it took a couple weeks, really honestly, to like be able to see this pivot and being in integrity with like my being and who I was becoming. Because throughout these 9 months, like I've grown as a person and as a human and as a soul, and I've become I've expanded. And I, like you say, like once you see something, you can't unsee it.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't unsee it anymore. And so it did take a while for me to shift my mindset and seeing that like I don't have to burn half my business down. And that the clients who like understood this are my people. And funny enough, the clients who, I've relayed this message to, everyone is excited.
Right, of course, because within our current like sphere of clientele, there's always going to be some who are not no longer going to resonate, like
Yeah.
fact. But there's going to be so many that resonate because what they resonate with is you.
Mm-hmm.
It's you, the individual, the person holding this business. It's you that they
Mm-hmm.
resonate with. It's not like the fancy packages or the programs or the offers. It's you.
Mm-hmm.
And so they want more of that. And if you, I mean, as a leader, you're really educating them on this too. Like I see you taking a stance on in this industry, in the fitness competition industry, and you get to lead that mission and be a voice in that space, which also then educates your clients, your future clients, other people who are competing. Um, and that's a bigger cause, and that's one that resonates with where you're at now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was almost as if too, like I'm doing a disservice to my clients if I don't make this pivot for myself. Because what kind of role model is that? Like, what kind of leader is that? Who I'm just going to continue to do things because A, it brings in income, and B, there's a steady client flow, but I'm dying inside.
Mm.
And it's everything that I teach is to follow your passions and to live your truth and to be authentic to who you are. So it would have been a disservice to my clients if I didn't honor my calling, so to speak.
Right. So knowing that you are actually leading the way by paving the way for your clients, this also in turn helped you make those shifts to create more alignment in your life, right? Because you have to demonstrate it for them. You have to be it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the way that we're talking about it, I feel like we're kind of making it sound easy.
No, yeah, it wasn't easy.
So
First
let's
of all,
talk
it
about,
took,
yeah, let's talk about the struggles behind the scenes.
I mean, it's been since June, and it's only now, whatever, June to September, that I'm feeling like confident in even talking about it. But I mean, all I saw was money going down the drain. I was like, I have to pay my bills. What am I going to do? I was stressing out. I was worrying about what my clients were going to think about me. I was worried about letting people down. That was a really big one
Mm,
because many of my clients have been with me for years and had a successful prep with me, loved their show, wanted to do it again because no one is doing it like how I do it in a holistic way. And I
mm,
felt like I'm going to let a lot of people down because I'm not going to coach them next year. And it was a really big pill to swallow. And it was a lot of hard conversations, prepping myself for them. Lots of tears. And what I now realize was it was a lot of surrendering.
mm.
I fought through that surrender, I'll be honest with you, because I love control and I like to know where my business is going. I like to know where I'm going, and I don't know, and that's where
Right.
I'm at right now. Like I don't know.
Right.
Um,
Because you're basically moved from having a predictable business because you built a business, it was working, it was moving, you had a wait list, it was predictable, to now
mhm.
stepping into something that is an evolved version of your business that's unpredictable because you have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
scary.
Yeah, it's very scary. But like I have been learning from you, and at the most recent retreat that I was at with you and Dr. Brett, it's just part of that journey really is learning to surrender. And I realized I have such an attachment to control and I have such an attachment to outcome. And I think that's
Mm.
what made it very difficult for me during this pivot. And I think that's what probably makes it difficult for a lot of people listening, is because you don't want to give that up. It's the uncertainty that is so scary.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Attachment to control and attachment to the outcome. That's like naming every single entrepreneur on this planet.
Right. Because we're naturally ambitious.
Right. And so we just want to know, we want the control. It's our baby that we're building, right? We want to know what's going to happen, and it's unpredictable, and we're going to be faced with a lot of uncertainty. And so how do you choose to now then face that attachment to the control and to the outcome, and face that level of uncertainty?
It's a day by day process, to be really honest with you. I have leaned into support. I have coaches that support me, you being one of them. I've leaned into my husband, telling him, like, this is kind of scary for me and I don't know what's going to happen. And really leaned into support. It's a day to day process. And it's also, though, having my vision at the forefront of
Mm.
like what impact I'm here to make. And if I'm so busy just doing competition prep clients when my heart isn't in that fully,
Mhm.
then like I'm not able to live out my vision. I'm not able to make the impact I want to make. And really keeping that at the forefront and like my purpose has been really helpful for the days where I feel like lots of days I don't know what I'm doing, but for the days where I just have a little bit of doubt within myself, I refer back to my vision, refer back to my purpose, and I'm reinvigorated by thinking about all the women out there who need my help,
Mhm.
um, with their body image and with their disordered eating and with their attachment to outcome and control with their food and their exercise.
Mm.
And I just get to thinking, like, if I'm here to help them, then like my energy has to shift. Like the way that I help people has to shift. So yeah, that's kind of what gets me through it day to day.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that you have your vision at the forefront, because it is scary, especially like right now, you're literally in the middle of the pivot, like
Yeah,
literally smack in the middle of it.
literally.
And I'm sure like shit comes up every day. And I've gone through multiple pivots and shifts or evolutions in my business. And I know what that's like, and it's scary. Um, and there is like the voices that say things like, but are they gonna accept me, are they gonna understand, are they gonna like me, are people gonna judge me because I'm changing my mind again, like, um and when we have the vision, that we are gifted with, the vision at the forefront, it makes it easy to run towards, because that's what we're running towards. And we're not getting caught up in the worries and the uncertainty and the what ifs and the anxiety of it all. But instead we have the vision, we're holding it up high, and we're running towards that. So that's really powerful. And for our listeners, if there's something that you've been wanting to shift or pivot in your mission, in your purpose, in your movement, in your business, don't wait so long that you actually start to resent your business or hate
Yes.
your business or have it weigh you down. Like, really do what Chaneé just mentioned, and have your vision at the forefront and run towards that. And if that means that you have to let go of some things, let go of some things. And if that means you have to create space and sit in a space of uncertainty, then sit in it. Because isn't that better than creating from a place of misalignment?
And especially what resonated, what you said right now, was holding resentment towards your clients, because I was getting there where I had so many clients and it was too much, and I was reaching burnout, and I was starting to resent this beautiful business that I had built for the sole purpose of being able to work from home for in the future when I have kids. And it was like I was starting to resent this business that I built. And that was when it happened in June. It was like a punch. It was like, I'm feeling the resentment. I think the resentment happened in February, actually, when I first started talking to you, because things just weren't in congruency. Like, just, I had a lot to work on. And one thing I wanted to mention too was, like, one of the biggest things that was scary was I spent the last 6 years competing. I am a professional bikini competitor. I competed in 6 shows. I won my very first show, received my pro card. So me pivoting was also like having to close a chapter of a book, but not because it was bad, but because it was just ready to move on. Like, I had been in the competition space for so many years, and part of me wanted to stay because I had built so much credibility with it. But at the same time, I'm able, like, I could build more credibility elsewhere with other things. So that was probably one of the biggest hurdles for me, was like closing that chapter simply because it was done, not because it was bad.
Right. So it's like saying, it's like ending a cycle in your life. It's like ending anything. We have to end it in order to begin something new. And this is really, like you said, it was nothing bad. This is just where your evolution is taking you. So if your evolution is taking you in this direction on a personal level, then why would you not bring that into your business? If you don't bring your personal evolution into your business, then of course there's going to be a lack of congruency. And of course there's going to be a lack of integrity, because as you evolve personally, your values shift, your beliefs shifts, who you are shifts. And so now all of a sudden you're a completely different person in your personal life, and then you have to show up as a different person in your business. Like, that's not going to feel good.
Yeah. You're allowed to pivot. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to change. You don't have to stay the same.
I'm having a proud moment.
You taught me that.
I would love to, let's talk about the hustle, because that's another, she's like, oh shit, she remembered. Because that's another thing that you are pivoting right now. Yeah. And as entrepreneurs, trust me, this is something that I've worked on to pivot myself. And 2019 is the first year where I really am like hustle free. It's all been intentional, and it feels so fucking good. But there's this whole other way of business, and the way in which you had been running your business, or have been, has been in this cycle. Describe the cycle, because I think a lot of our listeners are going to resonate with this cycle.
It's work, 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 push, 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 burnout, recover, and then push, 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 burnout, recover, like over and over and over again. So much so that last year I lost hair. I developed eczema for the first time in my life, all over my fingers. This year I got carpal tunnel. It was all this stuff. Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, that sounds awful. And it's something that we do because we get caught up in the doing. of a business. And let's be honest, like a business requires effort, right?
Mhm.
Our businesses require effort. Our leadership requires effort. Our missions require effort. And somewhere along the line, we get it twisted and make it in all about the hustle and staying busy for the sake of staying busy, which is kind of fucked up. And there's so many fears and beliefs that drive this type of behavior.
Mhm.
What are the top things that were driving your hustling behavior, your pattern?
Um, One was, if I give this much, then I get this in return. So it was like a very linear way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And that came a lot from my competition prep days where I was like working very hard to get to an end result. And so
Right.
like my view of time was very linear.
Mm-hmm.
That I have to struggle in order to succeed. I
Mm-hmm.
have to work hard to succeed. That if I want anything in life, I have to grind and hustle and struggle for it. Um, and from like my conditioning of my ancestral trauma is obedience. And so what kind of kickstarted it was I used to have a coach, and or last year one of my coaches gave me a strategy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a very good student, and I did what she
She
said.
is. She's an excellent student, FYI.
And I did exactly what she said, and it was signing on 20 to 25 clients at a certain rate, and that was your monthly income from online coaching. And at the time I was still doing my personal training business. So um, it's like I didn't have the strength or the confidence or the intuition to listen to myself because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have those rituals built in yet. I am very good at obeying. I'm very good at listening to what other people tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that was a big one. And then just like the thinking that I had to struggle in order to succeed.
Yeah. More is better. Need to struggle to succeed. I think like so many of these things are beliefs that a lot of us carry that drive our hustle behavior. And then of course we have comparison, right? When we compare ourselves to like other people and other entrepreneurs, and we don't know their backstory. We don't know how long they've been at this for. We don't know how long they've had their YouTube channel with like 1 million followers. Yet we like to compare ourselves to where they're at now,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
fucked up. And then that drives us to hustle even more. And I don't know about you, but well, did this happen to you when you were in the middle of the hustling? At times you'd be like, I don't even know why I'm so busy.
Yeah. And I also like made myself busier than I had to be, worrying about things that didn't matter. My followers, for instance, like my
Mm-hmm.
following, like putting so much effort and time and energy into trying to grow it and figuring out, like the hashtags and like all the
Mm-hmm.
stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And generally just kind of being worried about it and thinking about it. And producing content as like a result of it versus producing content from a place of alignment with what like my message is, which is what I've
Right.
learned. It's what I
Like
learned this
producing.
year.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the biggest, you said it at the beginning of the episode, but I want you to say it again. What was your biggest insight about how you were using social media? And I want people to hear this because I think that there's more people who actually have this same pattern.
I was using it as a means to validation, to be honest, and also to really like kind of to soothe my ego. It was like I liked seeing the numbers. I liked seeing how many times something would get shared. I liked seeing what the impact of my post had. And I think there's like a good way to look at that, and also a way in which is not so great, which is what I was doing, because I just made it about me. I don't know if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, not keeping your followers or your audience in mind and really making it about you in terms of like, I need this to make me feel better.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not easy to admit, but yeah, I definitely used a lot of social media for my ego. And it was hard to take breaks from social media. I thought I couldn't take a break. I thought I couldn't take a break off stories. And I had no
FOMO.
healthy boundaries. Yeah. I just didn't have healthy boundaries all around it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't have healthy boundaries around it. And like, let's be really honest, social media, the way it's built is built to give us dopamine hits. So if any of you listening say that you have never once in your life gone to social media for a hit of dopamine or for a boost to feel better about yourself, you are fucking lying. I have
Yeah.
done this. Okay. We all do this. And I think that, and I've shared this with you before, Chaneé, like you're a real leader to me, to have um, the willingness and the courage to admit to yourself and acknowledge the ways in which you've been using social media, because that is that awareness is what's going to give you the power to create change. So now that you're aware of this, now that you see this and you cannot unsee,
Mhm.
now you have the conscious choice to use social media differently, which is
Mhm.
powerful.
Mhm.
And how timely of all of this to happen at the same time, right? It's like the pivot of your business and also shifting the way in which you are running your business
Mhm.
all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking powerful, especially because you mentioned that this is like self-love is a lot of what you work on with your clients and the mindset, and you have to be that first.
Yes, 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 yes. I have to take care of myself first. What I've realized is like in healing myself, I heal my clients.
Mm.
In connecting with myself more and like honoring my boundaries and instilling stronger, healthier ones, like I'm also healing that also for my clients. Like I'm giving them the permission to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
So when they see me taking breaks, when they see that I have stricter hours with my emails, it also and then gives them the permission to be that for themselves.
Mm.
So that was a big wake up call.
Yeah, I love that you shared that. Um, because of course, like here I am as your coach, and I'm going to Peru for a month and going
Yeah.
offline. And at the same time, that was this sort of this way that I show up for my business has been one where I've just learned, like, do I want my clients to feel like they have to sacrifice their needs for their clients? No. And I want them to know that I'm honoring my needs so that I can show up at my fullest for them, to serve them. And so I stand behind you, Chaneé, and what you said about the more that you heal yourself, the more your clients will heal.
Mm-hmm.
You are a mirror for your clients, and this is really powerful for you to take that stance and demonstrate and be the message for them so that they can see how it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Exciting
And
times for you. All these
I
changes all at
know.
once.
Like I don't
I
even
mean, it's
know.
been like a long time coming, but it's all happening at the same time. And I don't know if you ever thought about it this way, but it's all so aligned, like the way in which you're running your business and the way in which you want to now work with your clients. It's all aligned, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about earlier how you started your business so that you could have time to raise your family and have kids. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of us entrepreneurs, we start for one reason and we lose sight of that reason. And then we create
Mm-hmm.
a business that actually won't help us achieve the initial vision that we had for our lives. And so it's amazing that you're back in that space of awareness, because this is going to shift the way in which you run your business. So why don't you tell us now? What are your plans for how you're going to show up for your business?
Well, a big aha and insight is that my life is my business.
Mm-hmm.
It's not two separate things. So, one big thing is connecting with myself, no longer looking for external validation in anything, because for a long time, if I worked, then I was worthy. So if I had something good to say on social media that day, it was a worthy day. And disconnecting from that, that's one of the new ways I'm showing up for my business, and showing up for myself is connecting with myself, listening to my intuition, operating from a place of alignment versus force, flowing versus forcing things to happen. One thing that I'm still working on is surrendering, letting go, allowing things to happen in their divine timing,
Mm-hmm.
and staying connected to who I am, and like staying connected to my truth and my authenticity, speaking my truth, not filtering myself, not being so vanilla, not being scared to be unliked. And it's funny because I say that, and it's exactly how I want to show up also my personal life. Like,
Right.
it's all the same.
It is all the same. And
Mm-hmm.
what an amazing way to lead your business is by really just first leading you, and leading by being, and surrendering and allowing. And for those of you listening who are like, oh, this just sounds so fluffy, it's like, you don't understand, like, surrender actually takes a lot of effort. It's not just giving up, it's effort. It's allowing what's to come in to come in. It's about not resisting. And so much of what we do as entrepreneurs is actually resisting. It's resistance,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're pushing against something. That's why we feel like we're pushing all the time. So that's an
Mm-hmm.
actual resistance that we're working with. And it's so much better to work and to lead our missions from a place of like flow, from a place of being, from a place of congruency, from a place of integrity, from a place that feels really good
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
really
Yeah.
aligned.
I think it's you who told me that surrender is an active state.
Yes, it
Because,
definitely is. And are you feeling
yeah.
that?
Yes, because it's like when I want to make a decision in my business because I think it's going to like give me X, I then have to surrender and not try to control everything.
Mhm.
And again, I'm still working on it. It's still something that I'm like learning, but being the leader I want to be has been so different compared to who I was maybe 3 months ago. Because
Mhm.
if I wanted to be a leader who was confident, be a leader who was connected, a leader who was working from her intuition, who was honoring her self-care, honoring her needs. But when I took a hard look at what I was doing day to day, I wasn't being that. I was showing up as that online, but I wasn't being that in my day-to-day life when the camera was off. And that has made the biggest impact for me.
Mm. Yeah, who you're being when the camera is off. So many
Yeah.
people are two different people, sometimes 10 different people. But that's integrity. That's
Uh-huh.
congruency. Is like being able to show up the same whether the camera's on or off. And when we show up, I strongly believe that when we show up in the fullest expression of who we are, that is when our gifts get to be their fullest expression, which means then our impact and our service then is felt at its fullest expression.
Hmm.
If we are trying to be something that we're not, or trying to shapeshift to please people, or to appease the masses, then we're actually dimming our gifts and our voice and our truth and our service and our impact in some way, shape, or form. And
Mm-hmm.
so for you, Chaneé, I just see such amazing things. I mean, number one, this mission that has been birthed from your experiences is powerful
Thank you.
and it's needed. And then second, I just see you finally creating the life that you truly want
Yes.
for you, for your family, for your future little babes that are going to be so cute.
And my 5 fur animals,
Yeah, and your 5 fur animals. I
my
mean,
zoo.
I just feel like this is gonna open up so much for you. And as scary as it is and uncertain as things are right now, um, would you say that at the end of the day, you're going to bed feeling better?
Yes. I also have rituals now, rituals built in at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. And I honestly am a different person, partly thanks to your retreat, but all this work that I've been doing,
Mhm.
I am a different person. I'm more centered. I'm more calm. I'm much more grounded. I'm less hyper and overcompensating for things.
Mhm.
So I just feel like a whole different person, and that in itself is what has made me feel better.
Mm. And so to the listeners who feel called to pivot their mission, their business, their messaging, to the listeners who feel misaligned and incongruent and feel like their mission or their message or their business is lacking integrity and they want to create a change, they're scared.
Mm-hmm.
what would you tell them?
You should be scared.
Mic
If
drop.
if it wasn't scary, then you're truly not stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good sign, and you get to work through that. Like, you get to create the confidence in being that person that you truly want to become, and making those shifts in your business and pivoting so that you can be that person you really want to be. Because if you aren't living in integrity, and you're, coaching people that is not in integrity with who you are now, pieces of you inside are dying. And we need leaders. Like, we need people to speak up. We need people to be in their full potential. Like, we need this. Like, we need you. I think everybody has a specific gift. And if you don't let that out, then so many people are going to be at a disservice. So if you're scared, that's a great thing.
Love that. Love that. And then to the ones who are listening who are just so stuck in the hustle and the grind and the burnout, what do you want to tell them?
I feel you. And you think that it's what's going to make you successful, but how well has that been working out for you?
Yep. That's the mic drop right there. Chaneé, thank you so much for just being on the show, and really, like, thank you for trusting me as your coach and your mentor. You are an excellent student. I will give you that.
Thank you.
And it's just been amazing to watch you evolve into what feels like you're stepping into your greatest mission. Everything that you've experienced and overcome and lived through in your life is pointing in this direction. And the people whose lives are going to be impacted by you, I mean, you're already impacting so many people, but this is an impact that is aligned, is congruent, is needed, is in integrity with who you are in your story. And I'm just so excited for you. I really am. Thank
you. I can't thank you enough.
And Chaneé is actually also one of our founding members in the Thought Leader Collective. I'm super excited about that because we get to continue having fun together in 2020. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, Chaneé, thank you so much. Why don't you tell our listeners how they can stalk you online? And then I will have all of those links in the show notes.
So you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Chaneé Momoko. YouTube/Chaneé Momoko. And then my website, ChaneéMomoko.com. It's all the same. So it's super, super easy. Oh, and I have a podcast. It's called Your Highest Self. And I just launched that in August. And it is where you can learn about holistic solutions for your fitness, nutrition, and mindset. So you can get out of the hustle when it comes to your fitness and your nutrition.
Yes. And so if you dig Chaneé's energy and vibe, make sure you subscribe to her podcast, Your Highest Self. I will have that link and all her other links, including Twitter. She's new on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're a Twitterer like me, welcome her to the Twitterverse. But I'll have all those links and more in the show notes. Chaneé, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, thank you so much for joining me and Chaneé on today's Thought Leader, where we are challenging you to rise up, speak up, and create a movement. Be sure to drop a rating and review on iTunes if you dig this message. And if you feel like someone could benefit from it, make sure you share the episode with them. If you have any questions or insights that you want to share with either myself or Chaneé, please reach out to us on social media. Let us know that you listened to this episode. My handle is at I am Ruby, and I prefer Instagram and Twitter over everything. Chaneé, it's been awesome. And to our listeners, I will see you back here on Thursday for a brand new episode of Today's Thought Leader.